Hey guys, hey fellow seekers, how's everyone doing? Well, I think it's really going to happen. I think the trial for Suitcase or Samsonite Sarah Boone is going to happen. But boy, what they are trying to do to get there. Oh my gosh, I finally found the Zoom on Thank You Court TV, but it was, I noticed other channels had found it, but it took me a while. But anyhow, I also want to share this because Lauren Silver is the one who was there at the trial, and she writes about it. But there were some things that were interesting that I wanted to share with you all before. I haven't seen the entire part, the entire pre-trial, what are we trying to say, the conference, but I saw enough to oh my goodness, it was a technical nightmare. I mean, there's going to be some noise, and then Mr. Owens, I keep wanting to call him Mr. James, but James Owens, Sarah's main defense attorney, he came via Zoom, and so you've got Mr. Cacciatore wasn't there, but the other prosecutor, Mr. Jay, was there, and of course Judge Kraynick, and you could tell they were agitated. Even Judge Kraynick seemed agitated because I looked at the docket. Oh my gosh, I'll probably go over those either here or maybe a different video. I mean, everybody was jamming in motions and this and that at the last minute. So you can just imagine what a whirlwind this is, because of the fact that Mr. Owens came so late in the game. And so it's aggravating, and you could tell Mr. J was aggravated with the Zoom, because at one point, I guess there was media or somebody on there, but they weren't muted, so you could hear all these different voices. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I can understand everybody was a little bit agitated, except Sarah. I just want you to make note. Look at that smile on her face. She is, and I mean, it's almost like you forget that this is a very serious M trial. But we will not forget George, I promise you. But the way that she's acting, coming in all giddy and smiling, I'm telling you, she's in love with somebody. I don't know if it's that, was it Billy Lane I had suspicions about? Or maybe, could it be her attorney, Mr. Owens, because he's her savior? But she looked very, see that smile? I mean, and you could tell she was mouthing out things to people. And later I will share a little clip of what Lauren Silver says, because she noticed it too. I kept thinking, have I lost my mind? But here's something interesting that's going to come up in there that Lauren Silver had written about. Let me see. Okay, let me see here. Of course, they're going to come up about the Miranda warning thing, and I think that is not going to, oh yeah, so it said that James Owens was given, yeah, it says Judge Kraynick was clearly frustrated, reiterated to both sides that the trial date was quickly approaching, and gave Boone's attorney, James Owens, a deadline of 11 p.m. on the 27th, which would have been yesterday, to file any further motions to suppress. Owens told the judge, we're going to do our best to get all this resolved and be ready for trial. So, yeah. And I think that's probably why Mr. J is frustrated, because he's having to do things because of the fact that Mr. Owens is doing these last minute things. And so it's putting a pressure on him, time constraints, all that kind of stuff. But this is the part that's funny. And we will see this in the hearing, and that is, okay, this is what's funny. So So this is about hair, Sarah makeup, and as I call it, getting her hair did, styled. Okay, so it says Owens has also filed a motion asking for makeup and for hair to be styled for her trial, likening doing so to have a male inmate shave before court. I don't know, it seems like it's a little more than that. Responding to the request verbally on Friday, prosecutor Will Jay said, and you'll hear him say this, as far as I know, she'd be the first person to ever have that done in this courtroom. Owens also noted that Owens also noted that Sarah would not be wearing any clothing from the public defender's office. Here's the part. Instead, he would be getting her clothing, mentioning that he would be getting her measurements next week. What? So I'm just wondering, I'm just, being silly and speculating, but to Sarah Boone, is that why she's all wiggly and giggly? So what about the stylist? Is he going to pay for the hairstylist? I mean, look at Sarah's face. And I'm telling you, again, not to lose sight of what we're here for, but I mean, there's some soap opera to everything, as I say, soap opera stuff. And you can tell she's mouthing things, and you can just tell she is very giddy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is this like a remake, but in a different style of the Pretty Woman movie with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts? Is she Mr. Owens' Pretty Woman, or is Billy helping foot the bill? That's what I want to know. Those were some things I thought I would bring to your attention because I'm just weird like that. And also, if this is your first time here, welcome. I hope that you find this to be a warm, welcoming place. And I'm not a professional in anything really. Well, something, nothing to do with this. I'm not a lawyer, paralegal, psychiatrist, psychologist. As I always say, I am just a person who is interested in true crime and justice, and I'm also nosy about things like this, Sarah, makeup and hair. But okay, we're gonna get on. Just prepare yourself. There's gonna be some noise, but I just find it comical. If it gets annoying to you, of course you can always fast forward. You always have that, but I just found it comical because it just shows the noise and Mr. Owens trying to come through, and he's yelling, "Can you hear me?" And the judge is going, "Yes, I can hear you," but Mr. James can't hear him, or Mr. Owens can't hear him. They're just all agitated, like I said, except wiggly giggly Sarah. So let's get with it. Oh, wait a minute. You missed her. She's kind of hiding behind the wall there. I'll try to make sure that you can see her, but you got to know that Judge Kraynick, with all these motions and paperwork and trying to get the attorney straight, and this has got to be, I bet he's like, I am so ready for this trial to be done. Pardon me as I try to adjust it a little here. I'm not sure. I never like to cut off their heads. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Like I said, my goal is to hit that big 3K, and then just to keep on going and going. It takes a lot of time, but I appreciate you all here who are with me. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's a little like the camera. I'm trying to keep up with this camera. I'm not sure what it's doing here. Maybe I should just be still and wait.
I'm ready to go.
Case number 20.
William J. for the state. Mr. Owens, you are muted, sir. Judge, can you hear me? Loud and clear, sir. Can I get your appearance for the record?
Yes, I'm James Owens, and I'm here to represent Sarah Boone. I believe I'm the only counsel that's going to be here today representing Sarah Boone.
All right, very good. Ms. Boone is in the jury box. Ma'am, if you could please raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in. Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state your full name and date of birth for the record for me? All right, we're here on trial case management. In this case, I know there's been some activity over the last couple of days in the court file and correspondence between Mr. Owens' office, my office, and the state attorney's office in attempting to coordinate some hearings. The first item on the court's list is whether or not the examination of the defendant took place as ordered in the court's September 20th order. Okay, when do we believe we're going to have the opportunity to have that examination by the expert of the state's choosing?
Wednesday, October 2nd at noon.
Okay, and has that been cleared with everyone's calendars? Mr. James, Mr. Owens, is that accurate, sir?
Anyways, Judge, I can't see my client. I don't know if that is an issue or not.
Oh, he wants to see his client. See, he wants to make eye contact with Sarah.
There you go, sir. He's on the far right-hand side of the box.
I see you, Judge.
Okay, very good. All right, so that examination is taking place on October 2nd at 12 noon. The next item that I have on my list is depositions of the recently appointed experts for the defense. I know Dr. Harper's deposition is set to take place on October 1. With regard to Drs. Brennan and Berkland, are those depositions in the process of being scheduled, or what's the status on those?
I was told by the defense that they're not calling Dr. Berkland. He was only going to be a consultant, so there will not be a deposition of that doctor. The other doctor, we have made attempts to try and coordinate and not gotten anywhere with that. I am not even sure what he is going to do.
Judge, hang on, let Mr. J finish his point, sir.
I'm not sure if he's going to be testifying to battered suspicion.
Oh, no.
Mr. Owens, we can hear you loud and clear, sir.
I don't think he can hear them.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
I don't know why it gets comical for me.
I can hear you. Judge, sir, I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Judge Kraynick?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Judge Kraynick?
I can hear you, sir.
Judge Kraynick?
I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't hear you. Judge Kraynick?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
No, I can't hear you. I think at this point they need to probably do something.
Judge?
Sir, can you hear me?
What am I doing wrong? Judge Kraynick?
I can hear you.
The audio is terrible. I think that's when you start to hear the other people that should be muted.
Judge Kraynick?
I can hear you, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
Judge Kraynick?
Oh no.
That he can hear him.
Somebody help that man.
Judge Kraynick?
At this point, Judge Kraynick is like, I can't hear you, man.
Somebody from Orlando is calling. Hey, Mr. James Owens.
Oh my gosh.
Mr. James Owens.
I suppose you could say that's why in person is always the best. But excuse me, that was my chair scraping across the floor. I thought I gotta focus on Sarah, so I was gonna move it down a little bit.
Just, it doesn't look a mess. Did you, do y'all hear me now? Yeah.
Counselor, can you
Put some miles in, we cannot hear the judge.
can you hear me at all?
Look at Mr. J over there. He's like, I'm done.
Bear with us as we have some technological issues. Just hang on. Just have him hold on your end. Let's see if we can get this operational. Counselor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, wait. Oh, Lord.
Mr. J, if you're able to start over and pick up, or rather than pick up where you left off, start over on the issue of, we were discussing the depositions of the recently identified experts. We had confirmed that Dr. Harper's deposition was October the 1st. Dr. Berkland, my understanding, is no longer being called as an expert to testify, but is only being offered in some kind of advisory capacity. And all efforts to depose Dr. Brannon have not borne fruit yet. You could pick up where you left off.
Yes, we have tried to get that coordinated and have had no success with closing counsel. I am not even sure what this person could testify about. I don't know if it's another battered spouse syndrome expert. Florida law seems pretty clear that any other mental issues would have to be insanity. So I'm not sure exactly who this doctor is. We had prayed the court for relief and at least getting a report by today from him. We have not gotten such a report. So I don't know when we will be able to coordinate that deposition prior to trial.
Okay. Mr. Owens, with regard to Dr. Berkland, is Mr. Jay's position that that person is not going to be called at trial accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. So is there any reason to worry about deposing that person at this time, Mr. J?
No, sir.
Okay. With regard to Dr. Brannon, are you still going to be offering him as a witness at trial, Mr. Owens?
Yes, Judge, and I'm going to be down there Monday night, and I'll be available all next week. I can do it at any time. The only two things I've got is the Dr. Harper's deposition on October 1, and the state's expert evaluating the defendant Sarah Boone on Wednesday, October 2nd. But I'm free anytime, and we can make Dr. Brannon available any day that week. I would assume we just have to get with him.
Mr. J?
It would be helpful if I had a report so that I could craft a preparation for this person's deposition.
What is the basis to require the production of a report?
Under 320F, you, in your discretion, could order it to proceed along so that I do not have to engage in a fishing expedition for an inordinate amount of time on the eve of a trial that is set to occur on October 7th, when I am unavailable on Friday next week due to an insanity placement hearing in Osceola County that has been previously scheduled and rescheduled numerous times. I am not opposed to working on Thursday, but Thursday is a court holiday, so we have arrangements.
Sorry about that. The sound quality is dreadful, but I can't read it. Oh, Lord. He's telling them to mute themselves. You can see how perturbed Mr. J looks, which I don't blame him. It's like, it's crazy. Oh my goodness.
Whoever is participating in the hearing this afternoon, whose name is Lou, if you can hear me, this is Judge Kraynick. I need you to mute yourself, please.
Lou, mute yourself for the love of goodness.
Mr. Owens, how are we going to be able to coordinate this step? Well, let me hear from you. Let me go back to you, Mr. J. 3.220F says, on showing materiality, the court may require such other discovery to the parties as justice may require. Is that your position that that allows me to provide a written reports?
Yes, that's the court's discretion. Your expert is not producing a written report, nor have I gotten the CV to produce a report in efforts to coordinate discovery of the public.
Mr. Owens, what's your response?
Judge, my response is it's a narrow issue, battered spouse. Dr. Brandon is an expert. I've mentioned him 2 or 3 times. He testified in the Marsha Thompson case in Botched County. That's his field of expertise. It's not going to be a fishing expedition in his deposition. It's going to be related to that sole issue, battered spouse. And I'm available Thursday. I realize that's a holiday, but I'm available as well. I can make him available. I'll do everything I can to set the deposition as soon as possible.
Do we know if Dr. Brandon's available?
I can try to get you on the phone now, Judge, if you'd like me to.
Any objection to that?
Dr. Brandon's on the deposition.
Mr. Owens,
Oh my goodness. Get those people off.
out to the court admin today and said they were going to hear from you. I'm trying to log into my app, which is silence this other stuff. I'm having difficulty. I'm with you.
Look at that. Do you see that? Okay, watch her. Watch her. Yeah, watch her. Looking all giddy and flirty and something. I don't know who she's looking at.
Cannot hear you, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We
Oh,
can.
wow. Okay.
That was my
What if any response do you have to? My concern is I don't have a complete picture of what is attempting to be filed, and you're telling me you're not going to be able to know until you meet with your client on Monday as to whether or not you're going to file a motion to suppress. You're rapidly proceeding to trial in this matter.
Yeah, that's right. TikTok.
I understand that, Judge. I had a deadline for filing these defendant's objections to plaintiff's exhibit list. Based on my last discussions with Ms. Boone, she expressed concern about those 2 statements on the second page, the last 2 paragraphs. I simply was preserving the right to make an objection on the 2 exhibits, which is the body camera of Bethany Rodriguez and the audio tape that was taken, the interrogation that was taken in the squad car by the 2 homicide detectives. I don't know whether I'm going to even file a motion to suppress on those 2 paragraphs on the second page. I plan on driving down Monday. I will see her Monday night. We'll make a decision at that time. But I felt like I had to reserve that issue of this objection of these exhibits.
Oh dear, here come the other people from... They need to mute themselves. She's looking at someone for sure. Yeah, a lip reader. I would love to know who she's talking to.
Mr. Owens, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, very good.
Oh, finally, after how long? It's finally better.
State what, if anything else, with regard to the objections as raised, making reference to another potential motion to suppress.
Judge, the state's entitled to pretrial rulings on all of these issues involving constitutional rights being violated. If the court gives the state an adverse ruling, we need the ability to file a petition for a writ of certiorari because we do believe these statements are crucial to the case. And as I outlined in one of my responses that I filed today, there is a uniform pretrial order that was issued in this case, as in every case, which clearly spells out to the defendant that she has to file all of her pretrial motions 10 days before a pretrial conference and get them heard. And here we are at the time of the pretrial conference, and we're still kicking this can down the road as to whether or not we kind of maybe sort of might file a motion to suppress. And so we're just asking for them to file it, and if they're not, then perhaps we will do something so that we can get a pretrial ruling on the constitutional admissibility of these statements so that there's not an adverse ruling during trial which the state can seek no relief from. I don't think we're asking for much. It's been over 4 years. She's been well aware of her statements. She's gone through numerous counsel.
Who is she looking at?
It's not unfair to ask the court to get an answer. Are we going to do this? Because if so, when are we doing this? We can't do it next Friday. We can't do it next Thursday, as far as I know, unless we can get Judge Munyon to open up a courtroom. And then we will have to deal with, are we in South Florida? Are we doing a deposition of this late expert? What part of the day? And then Wednesday, we already have the bulk of our middle of the day consumed by going out to the jail, which will probably take from about till 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., going from travel from here, getting through the screening process at the visitor's entrance, and getting back to the female dorm, and then reversing that process. And then we have the deposition of their expert on Tuesday. So we're kind of running out of time to do these things and to coordinate and make sure that the two detectives and now potentially this patrol deputy have availability when they were never asked to be made available next week. They've been asked to be made available for the 3-week trial period. So I don't think we're asking for much to just get an answer. Are we going to do this motion to suppress? And if so, when? We already have a motion to suppress issue to deal with the 2-hour and 6-minute interrogation, which is going to take probably about 4 hours between testimony from the witnesses, the court watching the full 2-hour and 6-minute interrogation, and then arguments of counsel.
Anything further, Mr. Owens?
Dealing with my motion to suppress statements, I don't think it's going to be necessary for me to watch the 2-hour and 6-minute interrogation on that issue about whether or not the court should raise my motion. Again, on the issue of the pleading that I filed regarding my objections to the exhibits, it's the same response I gave before. I essentially felt like I needed to file them. I don't know whether or not I'm going to file any motions to suppress on the Deputy Rodriguez's body cam. I'll know Monday night. I don't know if I'm going to file a motion to suppress on the interrogation in the squad car. I'll know Monday night. I was simply preserving that issue that we wanted to object based on that. There we can. I understand that Ms. Boone has had the case for 4.5 years, but I have not had it for 4.5 years, and I'm doing the very best I can to comply with the court's order to be ready for trial October 7th and still protect my client's rights as I see fit.
You're going to have till today to file that motion. You
There's
can
his
provide
deadline
yourself,
for
you can
today.
amend it,
Yep.
You can provide case law. The only thing I'm going to ask is that you provide the court and state attorney's office any case law that you plan on relying on. But you can always withdraw it if you need to after your confirmation with Ms. Boone.
Would you clarify that again, Judge? So I've got until the end of business today or the end of the day?
Any responses to that, Mr. J?
It makes no difference to my weekend at this point, Judge.
Okay. You'll have till the end of the day, sir, no later than 11:59 tonight to file that motion if you're going to file it, because the state needs to be advised as to what, if any, positions you have with regard to those matters.
And you're referring to the motion to suppress the statements made during the body cam of Deputy Rodriguez, and then a separate motion to suppress any statements made on the audio tape of the interrogation by the two homicide detectives in the squad car. Am I correct?
I am referring to the paragraphs that are in your objections. Second page, first paragraph, and second paragraph.
Yes, sir. I understand.
If those are filed and when those are filed, I need you to favor copies to my office, please.
Yes, sir.
Now, regarding the motion to suppress that was filed on September 24, I understand next week's very busy. I know that my office had inquired if anyone was available Friday. I now understand the specifics as to why Mr. J is unavailable on Friday. As the parties are aware, the court, this is not the court's only case. The court is in trial next week. We have a legal holiday on Thursday. I don't believe that Judge Munyon has the ability to open up the courthouse just for me, as this is a statewide court holiday. That would be required of the Chief Judge of the Florida Supreme Court, I think, to make that decision. And I don't know that I have the ability to call Chief Judge Muniz to get that decision by Thursday to allow us to conduct work on that time. I will make myself available next week, but the problem is the scheduling of it, because the court is in trial, and the state certainly deserves an opportunity to understand the court's ruling prior to trial in order to prepare what, if any, rulings would be adverse or for the benefit of the defense or for the state. I don't know, because I haven't had the hearing. With regard to the 4 hours, Mr. J, why could I not review that 2-hour and 6-minute interrogation prior to the hearing, such that we would be able to save some level of judicial efficiency and economy?
I have no objection to the court doing that. I just understand that some judges in this building do not do that.
I don't have a problem looking at it in advance, and that way if there are certain things that either yourself or Mr. Owens wants to highlight for me during the hearing, look at time step X or Y, certainly I'll give
Sarah
you the
agreeing
opportunity
to that? With
But
that?
I think for judicial efficiency and economy, I don't have a problem reviewing it so that we don't have 4 hours of hearing time. Maybe we limit it to 2 for the purposes of case law argument and any testimony.
Judge, if I may,
Yes, sir.
if I may, finally, I know there's two prosecutors on this case. I understand that this prosecutor is going to be elsewhere, but either the main prosecutor who's prosecuting this case that would be available Friday for a hearing on this issue about my motion to suppress.
I'm handling the motion to suppress issue.
Okay, that answers that question. Mr. J is handling it. So I am here at your disposal, gentlemen, for when we might be able to set this motion for hearing.
Judge, if I may, we've been in contact with Dr. Brandon, and he is available on October the 3rd at 3 p.m. I'm just waiting on a location from him, but I believe, Judge, that's Thursday at 3 p.m. That's the holiday. So I'm available that day. We just got to check with Dr. Boone about which location, whether Orlando or South Florida, where his office is.
The state's not willing to go to South Florida for a 3 p.m. depo on Thursday when I need to be town and get a good night's sleep before doing the placement on Friday morning. So he's not willing.
Mr. Owens, hang on, please.
He's not willing to do it up here, then we'll need to coordinate another time during the week.
Okay. 3 p.m. is not going to work based on the state schedule and what they have to take care of on Friday.
Okay, I'll try to get him up here for that date and time, October the 3rd at 3 p.m.
Are you stipulating? Are you stipulating then, Mr. Owens, to having Mr. Brandon appear in person for the October 3rd at 3 p.m. deposition here in Orlando?
I can't stipulate without talking to the doctor first, but I'm going to make every attempt to get him up here. But I'll let the court know, hopefully this afternoon, and the state know this afternoon.
Okay. All right. Getting back to the September 24th motion to suppress. State, how can we tee this thing up for hearing in time, understanding that you're out of pocket on the 4th?
Judge, I'm available Monday. It's my understanding that opposing counsel will be in transit to the Orlando area on Monday, so I don't know if his availability. On Tuesday, we are taking the deposition of Dr. Harper from 10 a.m. until I'm concluded with that deposition, but we should have afternoon time, especially if it's only going to be 2 hours, on Tuesday the 1st. And on Wednesday, I can make myself available to do it at 8:30 in the morning with the court prior to us getting ready and going out to the evaluation at the jail, or we could do it afterwards at 3 p.m. on Wednesday when we are done at the jail.
But 3 p.m. is when the evaluation concludes, correct?
She says 2 hours, but what I'm trying to include into that is leaving the female dorm, getting back to our cars, driving up I-4, getting to the courthouse.
Okay, so that's a 3 p.m. ETA here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
But my only concern is I know the two homicide detectives, I anticipate the state being able to have them available whatever day, but I do want the custodian of the records to bring the sheriff's department, so I have to secure them to bring the policy and procedures and the waiver card and the waiver of rights for the Miranda.
Any response to that? Okay, all right. We'll make it happen on Wednesday. I'll advise the ASA and the defense in the trial that's set for Monday that we're going to have a hard break at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. If we have to work a little bit after 5 o'clock, I will let my court staff know that we may have to work a little bit later that evening in order to make that hearing happen. State, are you going to be able to subpoena your witnesses in time to get them here?
They will come.
All right. Defense is Wednesday at 3 p.m. acceptable. Mr. Owens?
Yeah, I'm here, Judge. I'm sorry.
Wednesday, October 2 at 3 p.m. for a hearing on the motion to suppress.
Judge, I'll work on getting my subpoena out today for the motion to suppress Wednesday, October the 2nd at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Correct. At that point in time, we'll also address the motion that was filed at 1:13 this afternoon regarding clothing, etc. For Ms. Boone.
My gosh.
I conferred again this morning, Mr. Owens, with Mary Click, the Public Defender's Office. She's not heard from you yet. Are you going to be relying on the Public Defender's Office to provide clothing? They are still ready, willing, and able to do so.
No, Judge, we are going to provide clothing for Ms. Boone.
Okay.
Look at that smirk.
We wanted to get out there one day, early, Tuesday probably, to take measurements.
Measurements. My gosh.
That's something you're going to have to address with the jail.
Okay.
I know I saw your motion. I don't even know if the state's had the opportunity to review it yet.
I have. I believe the shackles portion of the motion has been a ship that has come through here. It's hailed. And I believe all the clothing issues have been addressed by the court. The only thing that seemed to be new was the hair and makeup. And I did not see any authority cited that specifically said that was permissible. don't really have a dog in the fight. If court admin and security staff, however it works, is going to permit this to perhaps, as far as I know, be the first person to ever have that done in this courthouse, that's between them.
Okay, all right, so the court will review that motion and the case law that you
She's something
provided
else,
for
isn't she?
me, and I will make a ruling on that in chambers as soon as practical. State, is there any other housekeeping matters or anything else from a scheduling perspective we need to address today?
There appears to be a lot of discovery that is still outstanding, and that discovery includes medical records from several different locations, and things, those specifically, and perhaps other things that are probably pertinent to all three of the experts, the two defense and the state's expert on battered spouse syndrome. So I don't know how we want to handle that, because if this information finally does come in, and again, I believe the court has already accepted the state's arguments that once jeopardy has attached, then it's too late. But there comes a point in time where it's too late for us to get this new information to all three experts and then redepose them as well. So there is my concern with this outstanding discovery, just as a...
So that, somehow it cut off right there. There might have been a little more to it, but I think we got the gist of that. But I was going to skip over here to Vinnie Politan from Court TV, because he's been covering this case a lot. And the same woman I had mentioned at the beginning, Lauren Silver, he's going to talk to her, and she's going to explain a little bit more about what happened in this hearing today, and maybe some of the things we weren't able to hear because of the terrible audio will be covered. And she will also talk about Sarah's demeanor and the fact that Mr. Owens is going to foot the bill for her clothing, and she will be having a measuring. Can't wait to see if he's gonna cover for her to have her hair did. Okay, let's check it out.
So we have a really good idea where they're going, what that side of the case will look like. And yeah, they're fighting the charges. She's not throwing in the towel.
Oh, Sarah
She's
will
not
never
admitting to murder in this case.
Of course not.
That's not happening.
No.
Let me bring in, because we had a big day in court today. Court TV digital content producer Lauren Silver is with us. Big day today. All these hearings that happened just before the trial take on incredible significance in the way the jury's going to hear and see the evidence in the case. So what's the big story today from this hearing?
Well, today was designed to be sort of a calendar hearing, getting all the last minute things set before this goes to trial. And this is going to trial on October 7th. Judge Kraynick made that very clear. What wasn't clear was the rest of the hearing. It was more than a little chaotic in the courtroom. As you mentioned, this started pre-COVID. Well, everyone who has survived COVID is familiar with remote learning and remote problems, and that is exactly what happened in the courtroom. Her attorney was remote. He was unable to hear the judge, was just yelling judge in the courtroom. The judge couldn't communicate, and so on, back and forth, all while there are still motions on the table that need to be decided.
And you talk about the chaos, right? You had a hurricane rolling through. Places are flooded. You have an attorney from out of town. You've got a lot of issues here. Let's show folks at home some of the technical difficulties and chaos today.
I am not even sure what he is going to do. If
Hang on, let Mr. Jay finish his point.
I'm not sure if
This
he's
does
going
make me
to
laugh.
be testifying to battered
Mr. Owens, we can hear you loud and clear, sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Look, I don't know if Mr. Jay just plopped down. He is so annoyed. I don't know if I've ever seen that in the other one, in the other recording.
Sir, I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Judge Kraynick?
I see exactly what you mean. And it's a technical difficulty, right? It seems obvious that he couldn't hear what was happening inside the courtroom today. And he's just trying to get in there and let him know. So
It's icing on the cake of a chaotic case.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
So what was on the table in terms of what the motions that were being made today?
Right. So no motions were ultimately decided today. The motions are going to require a more extensive hearing, and the major motion on the table right now is a motion to suppress. James Owens, Sarah Boone wants to suppress the more than 2-hour interrogation that she did at Orange County Sheriff's
That's ridiculous.
Office. And in that, she repeatedly says this was a mistake. I don't know what happened. Mistake. We were playing a game. And, everything was friendly, everything was fun, which is very contrary to the battered spouse defense, which is rooted in self-defense.
Right. And you're alleging that you're a victim of abuse. You're alleging that you're acting in self-defense in the moment, and a lot of the statements she made didn't seem to be consistent with that. So they're attempting to have this suppressed, kept out in front of the jury. Let's take a listen to the interrogation the moment where she is read part of her Miranda rights.
Just like we did yesterday. Remember I read you the rights? Your rights? Yeah, so it's the exact same thing, but since I'm asking you follow-up questions, I need to read them to you, okay? Sure. All right, so you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one can be provided for you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to talk to me?
No.
And do you understand what I just read you?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
So I guess there the last line is sort of left out of their reading of the Miranda rights, and this is the second time they're doing it because apparently they did it the day before as well.
Exactly. So they are pointing to this Miranda card, and James Owens wants the detectives to testify. He wants the Miranda card. He wants the procedures, all of it on record, because he is maintaining that all of these should be suppressed based on the Miranda card not being read properly. Now, he is also saying he's going to file a second motion to cover further interrogations on body cam. And the judge is getting him till 11:59 tonight to file those. And as of 10 minutes ago, those still had not been filed.
He's working hard. I mean, he just took the case, a case that 8 other attorneys walked away from because of difficulties with Sarah Boone. But he's all in. He is working hard, James Owens is. Let's hope that Sarah Boone appreciates what he's doing.
Yes, let's appreciate. Let's hope she does appreciate.
So he's got a deadline for an additional motion. The judge, as you said, not wavering any of these deadlines, and it's all because this is all going to happen October 7th. Okay. There was something else that came up today that I think a lot of folks at home will be interested in, which was a motion concerning Sarah Boone's hair and makeup.
Yes, well, her clothing had already come up as an issue, and the judge had already agreed that she could wear civilian clothing. There was the question of the shock cuff that she could wear if she was going to be representing herself. So that is taken care of. But now this motion is requesting that she gets professional hairstyling and makeup. James Owens has likened it to male defendants getting a haircut or a shave to look presentable, but she wants professional hairstyling and makeup for her trial, in addition to civilian clothes. And at the hearing today, Owens did say that he was planning to have someone take her measurements to get her clothes.
Wow. And you know what? That's probably going to come out of Owens' pocket. Like, he's probably going to get her the clothes that she needs. I mean, this attorney going above and beyond. Again, hopefully Sarah Boone is appreciating what he's doing. But professional hair and makeup, that's the first time I've heard that. Like, I've heard, can we get a little bit of makeup? Because you really don't get it when you're in jail waiting for your trial. But professional, like they want the Court TV incredible makeup artist to fly down for the trial. That's insane. Let's take a listen to the prosecutor talking about this.
I believe the shackles portion of the motion has been a ship that has come through here. It's failed. And I believe all the clothing issues have been addressed by the court. The only thing that seemed to be new was the hair and makeup. And I did not see any authority cited that specifically said that was permissible. But we don't really have a dog in the fight. If court admin and security staff, however it works, is going to permit this to perhaps, as far as I know, be the first person to ever have that done in this courthouse. That's between them.
Setting a new precedent, perhaps.
Oh, yes.
What's interesting, I mean, I can't criticize her because it's in my contract for, clothing, hair, and makeup. So I really would be hypocritical if I went after Sarah Boone on this. And she has a lot more at stake than just hosting a show. It's the rest of her life. But still, this is sort of unprecedented. How would you describe her behavior today?
She seemed very happy. There was a lot of smiling, a lot of smirking. It looked like she mouthed "I love you" at one point.
Oh, I love you.
To who? Hopefully her
I'm not
lawyer.
sure. And James Owens did note at the beginning that he couldn't see her because, of course, he was remote and had the judge move the camera so that he could have eyes on her during the hearing.
Wow. This is
nuts.
something.
Yeah,
This is something. Now, so there's going to be another pretrial hearing before we get to October 7th?
Yes, and there's going to be testimony. This is going to be on the motion to suppress, and James Owens makes it clear that he wants to hear from all of the detectives who are involved. So we're going to expect to hear from them.
Okay, a testimonial thing. The judge will have to decide about hair and makeup. You know what? I wonder if, like, day one she gets one hair person and then she fires them, and then we bring in a second hair person, then a third. We'll see how it all develops here. All right, so lock it in. We are guaranteeing as much as we can for the folks at home who've been waiting for this trial, October 7th, right here on your front row seat to justice. But before that, we'll have another pretrial hearing as they get ready for this. And maybe they'll try out some makeup artists for the pretrial hearing.
Please.
It's Sarah Boone, folks, right? Lauren Silver, Court TV.
Yep, it is Sarah Boone. Yeah, I wanted to share that because I wanted you all to hear what her thoughts were on that. And see, I love you. So she was maybe saying, I love you. I wonder how Mrs. Owens feels about this. Or is this just part of the whole deal? Okay, I think this is going to be it for this video. But what I am going to do is, for the next one, I'm going to go and check out all of those motions, see if Mr. Owens did get his filed in time, and all the other stuff they're probably shoving in there at the last minute. And also I'm going to show you parts of another part of where Vinny here on Court TV actually interviews her current attorney, Mr. Owens, and her former attorney, Mr. Bankowitz. So he kind of weighs in on it, but I'm sure he has to be careful of what he says. And I just think I saw another maybe interview with I believe it is Mr. Bankowitz pop up, because I think he was the one that was with her about a year or a little bit better. And I'm also pretty sure she's the one who called him a dud and other not so nice adjectives or nouns, whichever. Anyhow, so I'll probably include that on the next one because, from here on till October 7th and then the trial, it's going to be Sarah Boone. So, thank you all so much. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you so much for commenting, subscribing. Y'all are really an awesome group of people. I really do appreciate each and every one of you all. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you like it. If you don't. But at any rate, this should be interesting. And I'll try to share as much of it as I am humanly possible. Until then, though, be kind to someone. Be kind to you. And I'll see you the next time.